The Pac-12 is looking star-studded. There are so many good teams in the Pac-12. What is up, guys? This is Joseph back with the Utah Utes Football Digest, and today we are going to rank the Pac-12 teams as of Week 3. This way we can track before we get into conference play who to be worried about, give you guys an update. Who are the toughest teams in the Pac-12? Are the AP rankings accurate? We'll go ahead and dive in. We'll break them down. Please make sure you guys like this video. Also, comment down below whether if your team is ranked higher or lower than what you think, or if you think Utah is ranked in the wrong spot. I'd love to hear it. Also, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. It'll help get it out to a lot more Utah or it'll help give you updates on what's going on. And make sure you share the video to other Utah fans or Pac-12 fans. I'd love you guys to help spread the video. So awesome. Let's go ahead and dive in. Let's talk about the Pac-12 rankings headed into Week 3 of college football. All right, and here we go, guys. We are breaking down the Pac-12 rankings going into Week 3 of college football. So we are going to start at the bottom of the rankings. And the bottom team, to me, is clearly Stanford. Stanford got straight mollywopped by USC. They have just become a rough program to watch over the past few years. They got destroyed. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of hope in that program, and they made USC's defense look like a really good defense. So that's kind of props to USC, but more than anything, just kind of embarrassing for Stanford. So Stanford is coming in at number 12, the worst team in the Pac-12. Now at number 11, we have Arizona State. Arizona State actually looked a lot better this week. They looked dreadfully bad in their win against Southern Utah. So they came back this week, looked pretty decent against Oklahoma State. By the end of the game, they did lose by a decent margin, 27-15. But still, they were up in that game in times, and it was a pretty competitive game for most of the time. So Arizona State looked decent. Also, Jaden Rashada, there's flashes. There's some offensive weapons there. I'm guessing by middle of the season, they'll be a little more put together and a little more cohesive. That's where I'm at with Arizona State. And then in the third from last place, we've got Cal. Cal actually dropped the most in my rankings. Cal went against a tough Auburn team from the SEC. And really, I didn't watch the entire game, but it felt like they really struggled to run the ball. I watched multiple plays where they were stopped at the line and they tried to run it and made Auburn's defensive front seven look like a star-studded group. And then Arizona is going to come in fourth from the bottom. So they are the last team out of this bottom tier of the Pac-12. Arizona looks like a good squad. They're a team that's been recruiting super well for a while now. They lost a close game to Mississippi State in overtime. Tough to hate on them too much for that one. Good squad, Arizona. Definitely one of those teams that any given Saturday, if you're playing Arizona, you're going to want to bring your A game and be ready to go. They'll be a tough out any week. So that is my bottom third. So that is the bottom group of the Pac-12. All right, now we're going to talk about the eighth team in the Pac-12. And just to let you guys know, every team from here on out is in the AP Top 25. The Pac-12 is clearly one of the deepest conferences in college football, and for my money, the deepest. It is quite a murderer's row you're going to have to face if you want to win this conference, and I'm thinking Utah can get it done. Let's start with the first team of this second tier coming in at number 8. We have UCLA. UCLA looked really good last week. They played San Diego State. San Diego State, you can say what you will. They're usually bringing in a decent squad. Their quarterback play doesn't look amazing from what I see, but decent squad. And they beat them 35-10. It's hard not to give them props for that. They look pretty good. And as the season goes on, similar to Arizona State, their star quarterback, their young guy is going to continue to develop and continue to become a better quarterback as we keep going. So that's UCLA. They're number 8. And then at number 7, we're going to have Washington State. Washington State looks um, fantastic. Washington State went out there, pretty dominant win. I don't even think the score really tells how dominant the win was. 31-22 against Wisconsin. Big time win, and Wisconsin was a top 20 team. Washington State went out there, declared their name and looked awesome. Cam Ward looked great. So Washington State, definitely a team to be worried about. Coming in at number 6, we've got Colorado. Colorado is the number 6 team in the Pac-12, and I want to be really clear. 6 and 5 are super close. The gap between Colorado and the team in front of them has gotten pretty small. Colorado has earned a lot of respect from me. So they had that tight win against TCU, nail biter finish. And then they were able to come out against a Big Ten team. I don't think Nebraska is going to be anything special. But what they did was they beat up Nebraska, right? You're supposed to dominate other subpar pack or Power 5 teams, and they did 36-14. They looked awesome doing it, and it's hard not to give Colorado props. So I've got them as the number 6 team, and they're really close to number 5. Number 5 is going to be Oregon State. Oregon State, they played UC Davis this weekend, so you can't take too much from that. But they did what they were supposed to do: go out there, just knock them out and look dominant. That's what they did. What else can you really ask from them? So Oregon State looked pretty dang awesome. Oregon State looked really good. Now we're going to go ahead and move into the top tier, the top 4 teams in the Pac-12. There's a ton of good teams in the Pac-12, and it is I am sure my list will be wrong by the end of the year, just how volatile this could be. I'm just projecting based on what we know right now. So as the number 4 team in the Pac-12, we've got Oregon. Oregon is the number 4 team in the Pac-12. This is my first swap in the rankings in the top 5 so far since the season started. Oregon, they looked good. I'm not saying they're not a good team. I think they're a very good team, and I think they're going to do a lot of good work this year. I just think Texas Tech, in my eyes, is not going to be an elite team in college football. And I know it was an away game, and I'm not taking anything away from them. It's the issue is the other teams are going to be really tough to beat. That's what I'm saying about it. So the other teams are going to be really tough to beat for Oregon. So Oregon looks good though. Seriously, Bo Nix looks awesome. I think I'd like to see them run the ball outside of Bo Nix a little better than what they're doing right now. But Bo Nix looks awesome, and I think this top 4 teams, it's going to be any given Saturday, guys. These are 4 elite teams. And coming in at number 3, we have Washington. Washington went out there against Tulsa over the weekend, 43-10, dominant win on offense, dominant win on defense. I mean, what else can you ask for? They go in there, they throw the ball like crazy. They're averaging almost 50 points a game through their first 2 games. It was 50 or 49.5 points per game through their first 2 games. And it's not like they're playing FCS teams. Boise State and Tulsa are not going to, be in the college football playoff, but they're not going to be just walkthroughs. I mean, you should win. It's kind of like when UCLA played what's it called? San Diego State, like we looked at earlier. But we got multiple games where they're running up the scoreboard and keeping the opponent's score relatively low. They look great. Washington looks great. And then this is actually, this is another switch up in the top 5. So at the number 2 team, I have USC, and I think that means USC. I had Oregon before, so Oregon dropped 2 spots. And I think that's not as much a discredit to Oregon as it is a credit to how damn good the Pac-12 is this year. It really is. It's a crazy good conference. USC is looking nasty, right? They are a scary team to face if you are a Pac-12 team. 56-10 against Stanford. Stanford has a somewhat talented roster, guys. This is going to be a mean offense, and their defense looked like they started to click a little against Stanford. USC looks good, looks real good. All right, and then at the number one team, you guys all knew this was coming. Utah is the number one team, and why I still believe that. What it is Cam Rising is out. We have not had Cam Rising, and we have beat two Power Five teams. And I would say against Baylor, if you guys go and watch that game, I'm sure there's a lot of non-Utah fans losing their minds right now that I still have Utah at number one. But when you look at it, guys, Utah did not have Cam Rising in either of these first two games, both against Power Five opponents. Many of these teams in the top four, top five have not played any Power Five opponents. Um, and Utah was able to do it without Cam Rising and look pretty good. On top of that, against Baylor, our offense, our game plan, our play calling was straight dog crap for 3.5 quarters. And then finally, they figured it out and we were able to pull off the win. Our defense looks very elite and very dominant. I think they're going to be able to slow down some of these big offenses like Oregon, Washington, and USC. And I think once Cam and Brant Keithy are back, our offense is going to look a lot more high powered. So I'm excited to see it. Even if Cam's out for a little while longer after what I saw from Nate Johnson, I could see him leading us to a win over UCLA if we need him in that game. So that is the Pac-12 rankings, guys. Please make sure you guys like the video. Also, comment down below where you disagreed or agreed with the rankings, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Share the video, whether it's in a negative way or a positive way. Go ahead and share it, guys. I'm out of here, and go Utes.